How would I? What do you mean?
Let's say that we adopted a kid, and I left.
Damn, bro.
Yeah, I was there for the paperwork. I was there picking up the kid. You were picking up the kid. I was in the back seat. Like, and then kid gets home, and then I dip to the Saharan desert for 18 years.
How would I raise that child?
Are you comfortable raising a child by yourself?
See, if you asked me 3 years ago, I would have 100% said yes. I think, okay, I want to be a father. I'm not sure I want to have kids. And there's a clear distinction in that sense.
So you really want to adopt with me, and that's fine if you do.
No. In a sense of, I think the role of a father that I want to play in someone's life, I want to play that role. I don't necessarily think that has to be me that has a child. So maybe I want to be, maybe that's more of like the uncle figure, like paternal figure in somebody's life. Like I don't necessarily need to biologically have the child.
Right. So you're seeing like more than one way of being a father figure in someone's life.
Yeah, I think so.
Without having the child itself.
Yeah.
Okay. With that as well, like, are you then, because as you said, 3 years ago, you'd have been like, yes. Are you going to watch this back in 3 years once you have a child and be like, oh.
Nah. Nah, I don't think so. Also, very confident. Like, do you think I'm gonna have kids? Which it's just like a wild.
I would hope that you do. I think you'd be a great father.
Hey, thank
With the
you.
mentality that you have right now, I think you'd be a fantastic father.
I think honestly, the reason why I went from definite yes to now I'm kind of unsure is because in my last relationship, I thought a lot about how having a kid would be, because I mean, when I say biologically have like a child, I'm not going to be delivering a child.
Yeah.
I thought a lot about like the ways in which
with
that affects, like in that case, a woman's body.
Yes.
And I was like, it seems like a lot for me to kind of say, yes, I definitely want kids and impress that on them, even if they also wanted kids themselves.
Yeah.
So I kind of pushed back to be like, I would love to have one, but I'm okay if not.
Yeah.
Because also, bro, living a lifestyle where you don't have a kid could be great as well.
Yeah. I think that both lifestyles have their
Pros and cons.
Unbelievable pros and cons, right?
Yeah.
With understanding that in a relationship where you do have a child, it's going to be a partnership decision, and most things are going to be partnership decisions.
Yeah.
With you just selfishly indulging, be like, I want a kid or I don't want a kid.
Yeah.
How would you raise that child from like start to finish in that mind space of you don't have a partnership? Like, what if it was just you and the kid?
Oh, like, how would I? What do you mean?
Let's say that we adopted a kid, and I left.
Damn, bro.
Yeah, I was there for the paperwork. I was there picking up the kid. You were picking up the kid. I was in the back seat. Like, and then kid gets home, and then I dip to the Saharan desert for 18 years.
How would I raise that child?
Are you comfortable raising a child by yourself?
No. Absolutely. And this current point in my life, absolutely not.
Really? You wouldn't rise? I think you'd be great. I think you'd rise with the
You
challenge.
said if I'm comfortable.
Oh, yeah, I know you wouldn't be comfortable.
Oh, no. Like,
No.
I think I would obviously try my best to raise it. But I just think I think when you get to a point where you know a lot about the world and how the world works, and I'm saying I think I'm at that point, but I've still got so much more to learn. Raising a child, there are so many considerations that you need to have.
100%.
And I think to put that onto one person it's wild.
I see that. One of the things that I see so much in this like conversation is people saying, or parents saying, you don't know what you're about to get into, and then also a bunch of single people who don't have kids commenting on family structures and parents. And I think that there's not a lot of conversations between two men specifically about like, what do you think parenthood would actually be like? What do you think fatherhood would actually be like?
It'll be so wild.
It'll be so wild. And I think that I don't want our introduction to this, and I want to hear Cameron One's take on this as well, of like what our introduction.
Oh, you nearly slipped up. I could see it. You nearly slipped up.
I really did.
Yeah, you crushed it though. Keep
but
going.
You know what? I didn't. And that's what the history books will remember.
Exactly.
But like, where do you think that your introduction to parenthood could come in? Like
hearing you guys talk about fatherhood is quite interesting, because for me, I feel like I've experienced a lot of aspects of motherhood just off the fact of being a African girl with an African family and having younger siblings.
Yeah.
So changing
100%.
nappies, making
Never changed
formula,
one.
all those kinds
Never,
of things.
yeah.
I've already experienced those things.
Right.
And so I feel a bit more confident in potentially becoming a parent.
Yeah.
The aspect of it that I find scary is not the looking after day to day. It's more so the how my personal traumas, how that shows up in a relationship with a child.
Yeah.
It's not so much the taking care part of it.
Yeah.
I can cook, I can clean, I know how to change a baby's clothes, all those things. I'm like, that's fine. It's that emotional aspect of it. Because did you guys grow up around kids?
No.
Like around young kids? Being
No,
in
like
your family?
I've never changed a nappy before in my life.
Like I only probably when I was about 13. It's my first time. Oh, actually 12. Like when I was a young kid, there were no other young kids that were my age, you know? And then when there were, I wasn't near them. So I don't know how to change a nappy.
Yeah.
And that's so,
That's so,
you're right. You're
yeah.
so right.
No, that's why I'm like, bro, the day to day of all those things,
Yeah.
having to, because I think we're also people that like, we like being good at what we do.
Yes.
So we very rarely have to do things for the first time in
yeah.
our life.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what.
And there are going to be a million firsts for any parent.
Yeah.
For us.
For us.
Fam.
There's no training field to be a parent.
No.
Especially, no. Like, I love hearing your take on that because
Yeah.
there are actually so many things that you are already ready for in that parenthood journey. Whereas, like, for us,
Bro, if we had a kid, bro, disaster. No, we'd be fine. I think we'd be fine.
think
I
we'd-
believe in us.
we would rise to it, but
Yeah.
there would be a lot of things that we would be doing for the first time. And
I'd
I
be
think
so
that's
stressed.
terrible. I'm so glad we're having this conversation now instead of when the child is here.
Bro, and it's also just like the strain it put on the relationship. like that. Oh my.
If we had a child, do you think that you would struggle to see me as a podcast host instead of a co-parent? Answer the question. I need to know for the sake of this.
for the sake of the child, I think that co-parent identity would just completely take over. I mean, would we beat switch to like a co-parenting podcast, or are we still doing Unpack as a?
Do you think that we'd have the child here like, yo, what do you think about that? A bit.
Yeah, no, 100. Well, I don't necessarily. I wouldn't necessarily want the child to like be on social media like that, but like
Really?
I think, yeah.
Okay, wait,
But then
like-
they also make great content. I don't know, safety and that. Like I just
Is it content over everything with this child?
no. I think we can talk whatever we like, but
No, let's talk about it now. We're here. Like, I think, like, wait,
a
we
little
used-
homie can chill off camera.
off camera,
Yeah.
but like on social media, on our personal pages, because both of our families live overseas.
Yeah,
So truly,
those-
they'd
yeah.
want to see.
Nah, WhatsApp thing. I'm not putting like I'm not.
Oh
putting my
no,
baby
we're
on
not.
social media.
We're not making a Facebook profile for. Yeah.
A little joint Instagram for little homie. No, like it. I'm honestly, parts of me are like scared for what parenthood will bring. Just because I feel like in what you were saying, you have a greater understanding of maybe what it might be to be a mother. I think I am so far away from my understanding and my experiences and abilities in terms of what being a father will be.
100%. And
It's not even just like, I think, being a parent type of I think with men often, this is not to generalize.
Nah,
but
pop off.
generalize.
I think it goes back to that thing about emotional intelligence, right? I think being able to think about someone's needs actively, I feel like that's something that more so women are forced to do from a young age.
Absolutely.
That you care for other people, you take care of other people.
100%.
And I think that men maybe struggle with that later on because here's this child that you have to think about them first.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they won't survive. They
Yeah,
literally won't
exactly.
survive otherwise, you know. You have to put in a massive level of care and support.
Yeah.
And I think it's a big shift for your brain to make if you're not used to having to think about someone else first, if you're not used to the act of caring for someone who's vulnerable.
And it makes you think of how I think in a lot of media, especially of say like like new fathers, maybe it's athletes as well, hearing how much of a seismic shift they're having a child is for them, maybe versus for their partners, it's still a seismic shift, of course, but less so because they've had to play that role within their family. Now, it's maybe a part of them that has to expand dramatically when you actually have a child of yourself. But for me, it would open up new parts of my brain that I've never, ever, like, had to access.
Yeah. It's like when men are like, oh, I had a daughter, and that changed the way that I see men.
I hate that. Yeah.
But we hear that
That's
so
crazy.
much. We hear that so often.
And it's so scary. And it goes on to the point of kind of like empathy in the sense of you had to have a daughter to have empathy for maybe women's experiences or girls' experiences in the world, which is so scary. Which is so scary.
That's so much of the human experience of like people don't understand until they have a lived experience. And that's it.
And like I can try, and of course you can try and understand as much as you can. You're not going to understand from the complete experience, but it's just like,
Bro.
like I'm like, great that you're on the bandwagon, but like it's kind of, you should have been here.
Yeah.
Because also those people probably have mothers and siblings and sisters and aunties, and for them that wasn't enough. That's wild to me. That is wild to me.
It's wild. I'm so glad we're talking about this as well because one, Unpack does have a child. I feel as if we're gonna have like a nice little blueprint.
Sorry, what did you say?
When Unpack has.
Oh, I thought you said Unpack does have a child, and I was like,
you'd be the first to know.
Like,
you'd literally be the first to know.
Yeah.
like when that actually happens, we'll have a little bit of a blueprint into like.
So you say when? Are you?
Yeah. Do you think I'm expecting?
No. As in, you definitely want to have kids?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never thought about.
Have you talked to other men about this before?
No.
I was literally thinking neither.
Nah, this is the first time, and I think this is a perfect time to broach it.
Oh, 100%.
In terms of like what we're in our mid-20s, we are both black, so both of our parents are looking at us like.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna go, we're both black, so therefore, and I was like, damn.
Both of our parents are looking at us.
No,
like,
they are.
Yo, hey,
Yeah.
hey.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I need a grandchild. Yo, what do you mean need? But anyways, yeah, like there's so many conversations to have around this, and I think that because Unpack is also 3 years old.
Yeah.
We've been pushing it as our baby, our project, as
Yeah.
terminology.
Yeah.
But we've also been like referencing the fact that like, oh, if we did have a child, and we've been making these little scenarios in our imagination. And I was like, that's actually really special. That we've both just been like, okay, yeah, when we do have kids, this is what we're gonna do. That's mad special. And I think that I wouldn't want either of us to step into a parenthood relationship without at least having those conversations with other men and understanding
100%.
where we could either fill in the gaps, do better, or just understand different experiences.
So you said to yourself, you say that you think you're definitely going to have a child.
Yeah.
So is that a deal breaker for you in a relationship?
Wow. Dang. Selfishly, yes.
Damn. I respect
Yeah.
it. Like, it's important that you know in yourself.
100%.
Yeah.
And it's not a fair deal breaker. It's not.
Why
fair
is it
at all.
unfair?
Well, I think because there are definitely things out of people's control where they can't, right? But
Oh, yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, well, you can't or we can't, so this
But-
can't work.
In saying that, in terms of like that being a deal breaker, if you meet someone, having a baby is incredibly traumatic for the person that is giving birth.
100%.
And so
yeah.
I think it's one of those things you kind of have to be sensitive around. Because
Yeah.
it's like, maybe you do want children, you want to take care of someone, but that being pregnant,
Yeah.
they don't want to do that.
They don't
and
wanna do
that's
that.
completely fair.
100%. And what
Birth
I
can
like.
kill you. Like,
Nah, go. So yeah, I know what you're gonna say. I know you're gonna say.
Yeah, you know exactly what I want to say. When we say deal breaker,
Yeah.
when we say deal breaker, what I'm actually saying is like that's a conversation that if we don't see eye to eye on, has to be a conversation we have immediately
And
or
has
initially.
the potential to be a big reason as to why you
Yeah.
may end. Because you're not going to go like flip the table like, I wasted my time.
No.
But it brings up a question because you said it's obviously quite a traumatic thing and that you can take care of people. Why do you want to have kids?
This was just a clip. If you're not tired of us yet, please go to patreon.com/unpack for the full thing.
Join the community.